Welcome back to the Tavern Between Dimensions, a monthly tabletop RPG podcast. We're now going into BYOB, where we make interesting and wacky builds. Anton, I think you've got one for us today, don't you? I mean, firstly, have you made your large donation to the Temple of Timora to soothe all the clerics you may have angered last time?
I'm going to have to appease many a cleric, which
Yes.
is why I have not made a cleric build.
What have you made for us?
I've made a barbarian build, but it's not going to be the same barbarian wizard build I made last time, which was a great success.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's much more sensible than that one.
No, I am actually bringing to the table a character I used to run, and which I used to run in the Dragon Heist campaign.
No way.
I'm so excited about this.
I know, where Julia was the DM, so this is
That's right.
a known character to most of us. My character name is Damien. He is a Barbarian Rogue, Noble, Half-Orc, multiclass.
Well,
Also known as an Anton build.
No, it sounds like something that doesn't work together, and it works perfectly together. All right, which I will try to explain. So, Damien, full name Damien Gorshak Versolartrig. All right.
Took me so long to learn that.
I know that is his full name because he's a noble, of course. You know.
of course.
He's obviously has a noble human mother, which was featured in the campaign, and a full-blooded orc father, who also featured at the end of the campaign. And he has this noble background. And the interesting thing about Damien is there's two sides to him. There's the sort of orc blood in him, which kind of leads into barbarian, and there's also the noble sort of education he's received. So there's always been a conflict between those two aspects of the character, and it kind of translates into also the classes, the barbarian rogue type of build. So I basically play him a bit like a swashbuckler, if that makes sense. So I'm running with short swords, and he's got that sort of dashing fighting style going towards him. Have I summed up Damien in a good way, Julia? Is that roughly who he is?
Yeah, it very much is. And Damien was a young half-orc, wasn't he? He was kind of 17, 18-ish during the campaign. And I think one of the nice things about it was he was a young man just trying to find his way in the world. And like you said, that brought out the conflict, didn't it, between the strong, forthright barbarian half-orc side of him that just wanted to go in and kick the shit out of the problems he was facing versus his position and the expectations that were on him, and this idea that, what are you going to make of yourself, darling, and kind of trying to navigate all of that. And like Dan said, he wasn't a noble barbarian rogue multi-class, he was Damien, and that's a really good example of what you were saying earlier in one of our other segments, Anton, about how you build classes, how you create your builds, is that you're not thinking about the fact that he's a bit rogue because he's sneaky and he's a bit barbarian because he hits things. It's you think about what's going to create the character you have in mind mechanically. So that's how Damien always came across to me.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. So that's who the character is, and obviously I played him with a French accent. We talked a bit like this, we're gonna go to the water deep, and and
I'm getting flashbacks.
Yeah, I know. But mechanically, here's the way it works. When most people think rogue, they think, dexterity. You actually don't have to use dexterity to use rogue, right? To play a rogue. You actually just have to use finesse weapons. And so it can either be a rapier, but it can also be short swords. So with the Damien build, we actually went with short swords, but using strength. So you can actually have strength rogues. And because we were a strength rogue, we could then go into barbarian. So I had 5 levels of barbarian and 1 level of rogue. And actually, I think I started out the campaign with 1 rogue, 1 barbarian. I think after 5 barbarian, I would probably take more levels of rogue. So we've got our short swords, and we are able to sneak attack. We can rage. And we get to add our bonus rage damage onto each of our attacks. So at level 5, it will be attack, and bonus action attack. So we can actually get that extra damage on, and on top of that a sneak attack. So we run about 4d6 at level 6, sorry, which would be comparable to like having a greatsword. So you always think of Barbarian as having the greatsword or the axe or whatever, but you don't have to. You can actually use those short swords to pretty much the same effect.
And it was also pretty handy because you had like 3 attacks post Barbarian 5. That was basically a 15% chance to crit. And then because you were half-orc, you also got the bonus crit.
Yeah, that's true. So I get a little extra d6 on that. The build, strength based at level 6. I would have 18 strength, I had 14 dexterity, I would have 16 constitution, so with +2 and +3 in con, I would have 15 AC, because I wouldn't be wearing armor. And that kind of worked again with the aesthetic of being a noble. He would just wear a ruffled shirt or whatever, and it was woodedy campaign, so you don't want to be running around in armor, really. And so that was cool to be able to have that aesthetic also come out. Intelligence and wisdom were dubstat. Let's be real. And there were multiple occasions where it was evident that Damien was not the brightest boy on the block.
Oh my god.
The Griffin is
the Griffin Rider. Oh my god, it's so good. There's a story beat in Dragon Heist where you're looking for something, and it's a bit like a needle in a haystack. Waterdeep's a big city, and so you part of the challenge is you've got to think about how you're gonna do this search. And I basically presented an opportunity to Anton while he was playing Damien, where a Griffin Rider just kind of came out of the sky, landed. The guard on him got off to stretch his legs and was like talking to Damien and just sort of shooting the shit and saying, it's brilliant. You can see the whole city in 15 minutes on one of these things. And what did Damien do?
Oh, okay, that's very nice. Well, have a good day.
One of my favourite Damien moments. It's like, that's way to go. What a way to play your character.
And the other players around the table just
holding their heads in their hands. Oh my god. Oh, I managed to get you a Griffin another way, but I thought that was really fun. Seeing you just really commit to that character and those low mental stats. That was good.
So wisdom and intelligence at 8. The cool thing about Damien is he does have charisma 12. So he can actually play with those charisma. And on top of that, because he's got levels in rogue, he does have expertise. Now, I think in this particular build, I actually started up with 1 level rogue. So I get 2 expertise, and I put those in charisma stats, in persuasion and in intimidation.
Yeah.
So we're proficiency 3 right now. So I would actually end up having +4 in persuasion and +4 in intimidation. Actually, more than that. 4 plus, double expertise.
Yeah.
So +7
7
in intimidation and +7 in persuasion. And that's really, really cool as a barbarian sort of character, because you don't often get to interact in those social situations. But Damien was all about the charisma, right? He didn't have the brains, but he had that willingness to go and connect with people and create relationships, and it was all about the hustle with him.
Which makes sense with his noble background. And in the campaign setting we were playing, the urban campaign, that made a lot of sense.
And if he didn't like what he heard, he could just pick you up and put you in a barrel.
Which is pretty much what would happen. The other stats aren't so interesting, but I just wanted to highlight that having that level in rogue really, really helps. And with that expertise, at just putting a spotlight on certain traits you want in your character. In this case, the social aspect. Damon, I think both in the RP and also in combat was quite a menace. Barbarian 5, I went with Ancestral Guardian at level 3. You could go Bear Totem. I chose Ancestral Guardian because it was kind of reminiscent of his orcish past and his ancestors. And also Damon was very, very in tune with all the other characters in the party. He'd be there to protect them. He'd be like the bigger brother, even though he's usually younger than most of them. And so the Ancestral Guardian feature allowed him to actually protect the other members of the party, which included Azorius, played by Dan.
Hello.
And so and so the features of the build actually just married very well to the character and created a whole, which I was very, very pleased in working with. So RP wise, I thought it was very, very enjoyable to play Damien, because he had those stats to be able to persuade or intimidate as needed, and he was a half-orc noble, right? So pretty intimidating in that case anyways. And in combat, I always found him very enjoyable. It's usually unusual to have a dual wielding barbarian, but you can do it, and it's actually can be very very efficient. I said the extra bonus damage from the rage helps, the sneak attack helps, and it all marries together to just create a very cohesive build, I find.
Yeah, because the two weapon thing is not immediately what comes to mind when I think of building a barbarian. It's normally the two-handed great weapon.
Once upon a time, I had a dual-wielding dwarf barbarian for the start of Prince of the Apocalypse, and part of my thought process for that is if you have a great weapon and make like one attack, then you're all or nothing. Whereas at least with the spreading your damage over multiple attacks, if you miss one, I mean, you still might hit on the second one, so you still do some damage. Whereas, you know, I found that, and you know, this build is basically doing, you know, a base 2d6. If it were both 2d6 plus sneak, but I mean, you've got two opportunities to do sneak attack. You've got two opportunities to do any damage whatsoever, and it's the same damage as like a greatsword, but arguably more reliable. Like you sit more in the average damage output. Whereas a great axe can roll a 1.
Go big or go home with the great weapon.
How was Damien in the Dragon Heist campaign in combat wise?
I don't remember like having any strong feelings either way. I thought he worked really well. I
just remember being targeted by all the baddies all the time.
So here's the thing: if you're going to present me a HIMBO character, I am going to hit you with all the wisdom saves. That is just what's going to happen, I'm afraid. And also, he was like the front and center fighter, wasn't he, in all combats? So people are gonna be a bit focused on that character, aren't they? It's like get rid of the scary half-orc, and then we can worry about all these other.
Don't worry about the gnome; he's fine.
Even though he's not, but he's like they wouldn't know that just to look at him. So yeah.
I like the fact that Damien kind of subverts the trope of barbarians. Because like barbarians have to come from the wild, and they have to wear a bear skin, and they have to do this. And actually,
I feel
barbarian isn't about the origin, right? For me, barbarian is like the state of mind of the character. So they would be very mellow most of the time. It's just when he gets angry, his anger comes up because he's a half-orc, because he's young. You know, it's kind of that's what I want to represent with the barbarian, not the whole tribal aspect, I guess.
Yeah. Again, when you said, "Oh, this is a barbarian rogue half-orc noble," and we all just sat around and went, "What are you on?"
It's a theme with Anton, isn't it?
Yeah, but
that's why we started a segment called BYOB, because that's very much an Anton thing.
Yeah. But certainly by the end of it, it was just like you're absolutely right. It wasn't a barbarian rogue half-orc noble. It was Damien. I suppose you've taken some mechanics and kind of gone, oh, actually, the Venn diagram of Barbarian Rogue is surprisingly more overlapped than you might think at first glance. It was really, really fun to play alongside Damien.
And it was good during Dragon Heist that the story of Damien came full circle and came to a close as well. He kind of managed to find his path, and it wasn't going to be trading or like his father was, and he decided to actually join the Grey Hands and Force Grey, right? He eventually joined Force Grey.
Yeah, that's it. He got recruited into Force Grey at the end of the campaign.
He decided, actually, that's going to be my path, not this other stuff. So.
No, it was a really cool character trajectory. No, I really liked how you played Damien. It was very satisfying.
If you were going to go back and play another similar character, would there be any kind of tweaks or differences that you'd like? Are there small changes that you'd make that you feel would completely change it around? Like, I don't know, a level of wizard.
Sorry. Well, I don't recommend playing Barbarian Wizard.
Wow.
Unless you follow the exact build on the previous BYOB, then you're fine. Because I find the Venn diagram of Barbarian Wizard, which is to dump
completely different rooms,
dump intelligence and just go dexterity.
After Wizard and Rogue, what's the weirdest multi-class with Barbarian, or the worst?
I would love to see a Barbarian Paladin.
Barbarian Paladin would be quite good. I've seen a Barbarian Bard. barbarian.
Barbarian, yeah.
Heavy metal.
No. I'm not asking for things that work. I'm asking for things that don't work. Things that would be really challenging to pull off.
Barbarian. So there was the whole like Barbarian Wizard masterpiece that Anton has presented.
I think that's probably the top of the pile, isn't it?
I think close second would be Barbarian Cleric.
Okay.
Because you lose.
I can make this space.
What about Barbarian Ranger? I can't quite see that working.
No.
Barbarian
Ranger it'd be cool
because go together.
No, it's fine because you could just use not sneak attack, not hex. What's it called? The
Hunter's Mark.
Hunter's Mark to get that extra d6 damage on your hits. Oh, but you can't get it if you're raging.
Barbarian Monk. So Monk is incredibly reliant on 2 stats, the Wisdom and the Dex. And it's got a very specific role in the party. You could not combine that with Monk.
I've actually seen some...
With the Barbarian, sorry.
I've seen some Barbarian Monk builds, one of which I was going to try out somewhere, but never got around to doing it. But I have seen it. Someone's saying, like, the way the Kensai...
Kensai is the only way you could get close.
Yeah, because at that point, you Barbarian could just have weapons.
Yeah.
I have a very spicy Monk Barbarian build that I'm going to keep for myself.
I'll look forward to that.
That's just for Anton time.
That's just for me. I keep that for myself. Just late at night. Late at night, I just look at it and I go, ooh.
He's got a body pillow of a Barbarian Monk.
So, yeah.
Hero Forge model printed on a body pillow, and he's there at
night.
Possibly.
Super spicy.
So going back to Damien quickly, if you were to sum this up very quickly for the people at home, why this would be a good build for them?
It's a Half-Orc Noble Barbarian Rogue build. That's all you need to know.
And
you get to play a HIMBO
on the CV.
And you get to play a HIMBO, which is just like, why not?
I don't know what I was expecting when I asked that question, but that's I think that's fair. I deserve that.
That's like somebody trying to sell you toothpaste by going, "It's toothpaste."
These are the ingredients. Yeah, look at the ingredients. You will enjoy it. It's a really fun build, and you can run it different ways. You don't have to. I think it's quite interesting to play a big character for the strength, but you could easily change it up to a bugbear or Goliath, or there's different kind of things you can go with it. So, and I don't think you have to go short sword. You could also go scimitars, daggers, rapier. You could mix it up with
flavor at that
point. I want to quickly just jump back to like that, a bugbear, because I'm trying to now picture a bugbear noble and how that happens.
It could be a noble bugbear among bugbears, so they may be. Although who knows?
True.
This would work very well. Yeah, this would work very well for a pirate build. So a swashbuckler.
Oh.
So if you're playing a swashbuckler on a pirate ship, you could Barbarian Rogue, and you're just a pirate.
You're the gentleman pirate.
Pretty much. So that's also a good way of running the build.
Yeah.
Oh, that bell, it means the tavern will be closing soon. So enjoy the last of your drinks and enjoy the rest of your evening. Julia, thank you so much for coming on to the Tavern Between Dimensions.
Thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
Quite welcome, and you're always welcome back at any time.
Excellent.
We'll start with you then. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Halcyon Days. I mainly retweet stuff about D&D and cats and stuff like that. I'm on Instagram. I don't have a huge online presence, but if you're curious, you can also see pictures of our cats there.
Nice. And the usual two, where can people find you?
You can at me, TBD_Anton. If you really like or hate clerics, you can tweet me, or if you dislike my barbarian builds, you can also tweet me.
You can find me at DM Dan T on Twitter and at DMT on Instagram. I've memorized them this time.
Yeah,
I feel like the narration's a bit sketchy there, Dan.
The reason why he was holding his hand there is I always cut this out, but Dan never remembers his handle. So that's for the viewers at home who are watching. That's why his hand was up.
Also, you can find me DMing the Gourmet Echoes of War campaign over on the Explorers of Elsewhere, along with some of these reprobates and kind of all the fun stuff that happens over there. So yeah, Explorers of Elsewhere on YouTube.
And you can find me at Group Stormbear. That's GROOP Stormbear. That's both Twitter and Instagram. And you can follow us here at the tavern at Tavern Between. We're slowly growing. We're going to try and start posting a few more things, so bear with us on that one. So as I said, the tavern is closing. Do be careful as you leave. I did say that one of the dimensions is having a zombie apocalypse, and there are a horde of zombies outside, but don't worry, their vision is entirely based on sobriety. Until next time. Yeah. Until next time. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Release segments like this from the Tavern Between Dimensions every Friday here on the Explorers of Elsewhere channel. Otherwise, if you want to listen to the episode in full, you can check us out on Spotify and Amazon Music.